talked a little about the three forces. I think I have to repeat it because people you were not here yesterday.
Yeah, if you put little what you call.
Okay. So yesterday we said that the basic law of the universe is the law of three forces. For any manifestation, for any event to happen, anything to happen in the universe on any plane, from gross to subtle, it is because of three forces. Now the study of the three forces, we study the laws in the universe and we study them within ourselves. The first force is called the active force. Right? So my desire is the active force. In whatever I do, my desire is the active force. The second force is called the passive force. So whenever I have a desire in life to do anything, I will always run into obstacles. Right? I'll always run into obstacles. This is the law of life. I run into obstacles. That is the passive force. Something else is needed over here, so that either my desire goes ahead or the obstacles overcome me. So I go out of my home I have a desire to earn 100 rupees. Right? So that is active. Right? But I don't get work anywhere. I find resistance. So wherever there is resistance, there is passive force. Now, something else has to help me. Right? I meet a friend, he'll say there is an opening over here. Right? So something else comes which either neutralizes the passive force or neutralizes the active force. Or later on we will see it reconciles the active and passive, brings them together in such a way that something can happen. So in this case, the passive force was I was not getting a job anywhere. A friend came and said there is an opening over here, right? So he came what did he do? He neutralized the passive force, my active force went ahead. So again, everything that happens in life is because of three forces. These three forces are known in every religion of the world. Either they are called as Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, or they are called as the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, etc. So in Sankhya we call them as Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. Active Rajas, passive Tamas, Sattva, that which is the neutralizing force. Right? Together these three are called a triad. A triad. Science only believes in two forces. Positive and negative electricity, positive, negative magnetism. They have some inkling of the third force, but they are not yet bothered about the third force. In India, for thousands of years, people knew that without the third force, nothing can happen. So if we want something to happen, there must be a third force. So to invite the third force, to create the third force, a whole series of what we call pujas and karma kands came up. That is, if you are starting some new enterprise, you will do a puja. Why will you do a puja? Because your desire for the enterprise to go successful is the, which force? Active. Obstacles will come, passive. And if obstacles overtake your desire, then you will lose, right? So they do a puja first, that something depends on something else, something higher, that is the third force. And the third force should be in my favor, in the favor of my desire, right? So nothing in the world is produced without three forces. Now, second force, why are there so many incomplete endeavors in our life? Maybe when I was, say, 10 years old, I started to learn the sitar, then after 6 months I gave it up. Then maybe I started to learn some foreign language, I gave it up. Maybe I took up some sport, after some time I gave it up. So these are all incomplete endeavors in our life, and I'm sure in everyone's life there are so many. Why are there incomplete endeavors in our life? Incomplete, what you call, activities in our life. When we go back and look through our life, what did we miss out upon? What did we miss out upon? We did not calculate the passive force. I wanted to learn sitar, rajas. But at that moment, I was not able to see which obstacles will come. Right? Obstacles can come in many forms. One could be my inner laziness. My inner laziness. Right? It could come in other forms. Friends may tell me that, why are you wasting time over there? We'll go out and have a dinner or something. Why are you going for that class or something? Right? So, passive force can come in many forms. So why are so many things left incomplete in our lives? Because we were not able to calculate the passive force. Man is blind to the passive force. He's totally blind to the third force. Right? That is why we are taking this. That can we open our eyes to the second force, and then later on can we open our eyes to the third force. Supposing I am in jail and I decide to escape from jail. Right? What will be the passive force? The active force is my desire to escape from jail. The active force is my desire to escape from jail. What is the passive force?
Security.
The bars of the jail, the guards, right? Is that all? Is that all? What else can? Supposing we say there is passive force outside, but there is also passive force inside. What could it be?
Fear.
Fear. I may have the fear that even though everything is okay, I know how to cut the bars, I know how to bypass the guards, right? But I may have a fear, right? And fear may be the passive force. Similarly, the neutralizing force. The neutralizing force. Now, supposing today we make an aim in life, that in this life I want to make an effort towards my own awakening. I want to make an effort towards my own awakening. I want to rise on the path of consciousness. Right? Now what will that entail? What will that entail? I will have to make a discipline of what I do. A discipline of what I do. Now when I make a discipline of what I do, I have to calculate passive force. So I'll say, I'll get up every day at 5 o'clock. So for 3 days I'll get up at 5 o'clock. And a fourth day, passive force will come in. And I fail in keeping my aim because I had not calculated the passive force. Right? So this is all. Now, of course we say Newton discovered this law. What law did Newton discover? The third law of motion. The third law of motion. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Now we go a little ahead. Right? Now this is not something which Newton discovered, it was known thousands of years ago. That every desire creates its passive force. Now, what is the deepest desire in us? Which is there all the time, all 24 hours. Which is the deepest desire in us? Huh? Right. So what do we mean? We say that life will treat us better tomorrow. Of course, life has no guarantee to treat us better tomorrow, right? Say we have a desire that I become too fat, right? And I want to get fit. So I say I want to go to the gym, or I want to start a series of exercises, right? Now what is the passive force? Laziness. Laziness is always the inertia of the body, is the first passive force. Now what will happen? Inside there will be a struggle. Inside there will be a struggle. Right? So nothing will really happen in my life. I'll keep on struggling until some third force comes in. Right? So I may be taking a walk one day, and a friend meets me and he says, I'm going to the gym, right? And he says, would you like to join me? Right? So I'll take you every day. So the third force has come in a certain way. Right? A third force has come in a certain way. And you see how the third force, it reconciles the active and passive force, or it neutralizes one of, that is why we call it the neutralizing force. Supposing we are in school, so we have a desire to learn. So desire to learn is the active force. Again, what will be the, what do you call passive force? The inner inertia. I don't want to tax my brain, right? If we can live without taxing the brain, we love to live. What else could be the denying force? And which is always there in this case?
Limitation of IQ.
Yeah, but what else? That I spend a lot of my day in what?
Other thoughts.
In day dreaming. In day dreaming. So really when I have to learn, I may be daydreaming and I'm not able to learn. So daydreaming is a very, very big passive force. Okay? Now how will I get over this? How will I reconcile the two, or how will I neutralize either the active or the passive force? Here I want to neutralize the passive force. So I have to understand the value of my education. I have to understand the value of my education. And if I don't understand the value, then the passive force will overcome the active force. Supposing I have a desire to eat a chocolate. Desire to eat a chocolate. So that is the active force. What is the passive force?
Health issues.
Health issues, right? So these are within me. Also, chewing the chocolate will have its own passive force which is outside. But within me there will be all sorts of arguments. You cannot eat sugar, etc., etc. It's the passive force. Right? Now how does one overcome the other?
By reading Google.
Google says it's good to eat chocolate.
When to eat, how to eat.
Right? But I may now get neutralizing force from some other source. And that neutralizing force may tell me that by holding the taste of chocolate in your mouth, you will stretch time a little. You will stretch time a little. That is, you don't just eat the chocolate, but you hold the chocolate in the mouth and you will stretch time a little. You will go into a different feeling, a sort of meditative feeling, just by eating the chocolate. Now, where has that third force come from? Where has that third force come from?
Learning.
Supposing they say, I read Google, I go to Google, as he says, and Google says it's very good to eat chocolate, it makes you happy. What do you call? It gets rid of depression, and it's very good for the heart, etc., etc. So, I eat the chocolate. But here I get some higher knowledge. Now, where has that come from? How will we see third force? Supposing this is my line of time. Birth to death. This is my line of time. This is life. How is time made? It is made of moments. Made of moments. Right? Now, in this moment, I eat the chocolate. I eat the chocolate. Now what he said from Google, I have got this knowledge that eating chocolate is good for the health, gets rid of depression, right? Makes me feel happy, and it's also good for the heart. So where has that come from? That has come from ordinary life. That knowledge, the third force has come from ordinary life. But there is another third force which comes from something higher. There's another third force which comes from something higher. Let us call it the teaching. And that is not a part of life. It is not a part of life. It comes from somebody who has woken up from the dream of life. Right? This comes from someone or some person who may at some time or in his teaching. And he says that you hold the chocolate in your mouth and you stretch the feeling of that chocolate. That stretching of the feeling of the chocolate is meditation. Is meditation. Right? So that teaching comes from something higher. So third force or the neutralizing force has two sources. One from life and one from something higher. It comes from something higher. We will see that later on. Now, there is something we do. We sometimes create static or wrong third force. Wrong third force. What in Gujarati we call it man manavani vaatu. I don't know what we'll call it in Hindi. Right? But supposing I have lost money in the business, then I'll say, any ichha. Well, you understand what I'm saying? I'll say any. Right? Man manavi. So I've created wrong third force. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Or supposing I have an accident, I'll say it is written in my destiny.
Yes. Mere karmo ke
हाँ,
फल.
मेरे कर्मों के फल.
That's what.
Nobody understands what is karma, right? But everybody will say it is because of karma, as if the accident had to happen because of karma. Can you understand? This is wrong third force, wrong understanding. So let's see this. Supposing there's a new music show in town, and so one of us, we may be interested in classical music or something, right? So the desire to go to the show is active, right? Now how many passive forces will there be?
Less, no money,
No money.
no time.
I may have too much work to do, no time. Then I may create wrong neutralizing force. How will I create wrong neutralizing force? Supposing he does not play well and I do not enjoy it. Can you see? Or I may get bored. Can you understand? So I am already deciding the outcome before I have gone there. So this is wrong neutralizing force. We must also recognize there are so many times in our life where there is an absence of third force. And what is its what do you call, lakshan, so what is its characteristic? Very easy. We get irritated. It's not happening. And we don't realize that we can only work with two forces. The third force is dependent on something. As we say, it's not happening. Right? I'm not getting the call. This is not happening. Can you understand? What is missing? Third force. And it has a very special feeling in life when we realize the absence of third force. It is not working out, we say. Right? So for 6 months we have been deciding to go on a holiday, but it is not. So what is missing? The third force is missing. Right? Now, the opposite is also true. Supposing we were to remember the most happiest moments in our life. The most happiest moments in our life. Have they come through planning something, or have they come when things have just happened as a coincidence? It's when the third force has come to meet us. Many times the third force comes in the form what we call a miracle. Something which could not happen, happened. Right? So it comes in the form of a miracle. So we must recognize both these places where we never expected the third force and it came, and where we are trying very hard but it is not happening and there is an absence of third force. You can take a small example. Supposing my desk is very untidy and I say I clean it today. Right? But again I put it off. I'll say I'll clean it tomorrow. Then again I put it off. Right? And then somebody's phone comes that unless you reply to this tomorrow, the time is up. So I have to look for his letter which I have to reply to. So then third force came in the form of something else. Till then for so many days I was putting it off because there was absence of third force. You understand? So we must every moment in our lives develop a way of looking for these three forces. Right? So in itself I have already started creating passive force. Then there will be a struggle between the two. And unless some understanding which is third force comes out, right, I may not be able to give the lecture. Right? Now, many of you have not, I don't know if you have, worked with a guru. Right? So the student has a desire to know, a desire to learn. And gurus, they don't want to reveal. So what does the student learn? In what form does the third force come to the student? What form? Supposing my guru, if I ask him a question, he'll answer after 6 months. Then for 6 months I'll keep on asking the question. So then what do I learn? How to tackle that? How do I learn?
Observe things.
One way is by observing the guru. Yeah. And what other way? I learn to ask the questions in a different way. I learn to ask the questions in a different way. So a person who is hiding his knowledge, guarding his knowledge, right? He doesn't want to reveal it very easily, but we want that knowledge. We have to learn to ask the questions in a different way, right? So if he asks directly, he may say nothing, right? But if we ask indirectly, we make some story of the stock market or something, and then slowly we put it, he may answer the question. You get it? So that is understanding. Third force has come in the form of understanding. Third force has come in the form of understanding. Now supposing I'm leaving office. I'm leaving office. So I say, I want to walk home. I don't want to drive home. I want to walk home. It's very sunny. So it's a hot day. So I say, it is too sunny. I don't want to walk home. I'll take the bus or I'll take the railway or something. And then the boss's beautiful secretary comes out and she says, are you walking home? Right? Can you see she has come in the form of third force? Right? So I forget my bus, I forget, it doesn't matter if it's too sunny. The active force overcomes the passive force. Third force came in the form of the secretary. Now sometimes the desire to know is active in the student, but rather than that, the desire to tell is active. Right? So supposing many times when we have learned something new, we don't wait for anybody to ask, we want to tell. So instead of the desire to know being active, the desire to tell becomes active. Then what happens over there? What will the second force be? The person may not be interested, so that is second force. Or we may have a fear that he is not going to be interested, so that will be a second force. Or we may start thinking, what way will he take it? Will he take it badly? In a dukh lag sake, right? So again, that is a form of passive force. Now, we want to learn over here how to make active passive and passive active. So this is the third force now. The third force is coming in the form of intelligence which can interchange the forces. I want to tell active, whether he wants to hear or not, passive. Right? Now how do I do it? So then I drop something, a small amount of the knowledge in such a way, right? Supposing I want to teach Omkar. But I know this person may not be interested. But then I say, okay, supposing there was a mantra in which, tells us how to grow more money. Right? So now, instead of me being active, wanting to tell him, he'll become active. Please tell me, I want to know. So we have interchanged the active and passive forces. Right? And this is the knack of living. The knack of living. The knowledge, the using the third force in the way of changing active to passive and passive to active. Right? Where do we see that again? Food. Food. Now if I am very hungry, then food is conducting which force for me? Active. Active. Right? Now, once my hunger is, fulfilled, I'm through with my hunger, the same food which was 15 or 20 minutes ago conducting active force conducts passive force. It has changed. The food is the same. Nothing has changed. Right? But now it is no longer conducting passive force. Right? I may come to your home and I look at your car and I look at your car like this. So it is conducting active force. Right? But then after a few days I may buy a better car. Then your car is conducting passive force. Right? So in this world nothing is fixed. The same friend who is conducting active force within us, tomorrow he may be conducting passive force. The same sun who is conducting active force may be conducting passive force. Forces keep on moving in a dance. It is a total flux of forces. Now, where do we see this flux the most in our life? Where do we see it? Where do we experience it the most in our life? Come on, come on. I'm sure all of you know.
We like the most and we want to.
Where do we see this dance of forces? The best place to see the dance of forces.
Marriage.
Married life. Married life. You get it? Huh?
Money there.
Right? You tell your wife that let's go out for a movie, but she'll say, I don't want to
Not today.
come. So active force, passive force. In married life, active force and passive force. Right? So how do you use the neutralizing force? How do you use the neutralizing? You'll phone up your wife's friend and tell her, would you like to come for a movie? Then just invite your friend for a movie. Right? So she will phone the wife will say,
Yes.
yes, immediately. Right? So marriage is the art of interchanging forces. Then instead of you asking her to see them, she will come to you. That let's go for the movie. So real married life, this what you call the whole play is nothing but the whole play of forces, and we keep on experiencing, and this is how we rise in the third force. We keep on rising in the third force. We rise in consciousness, because what is contradictory in marriage, through the interchanging of forces, we learn to make it complementary. Marriage is nothing else but making the contradictory complementary, and that is, we have to develop that intelligence, right? Supposing I'm sick, but I don't have money to go to the doctor, right? So sickness, active force, go to the doctor, not have money. But there may be something else. I may have a fear inside that doctors always cheat patients, right? Or doctors give more medicines than is required. So then there's a struggle. Nothing is coming out of it. No, nothing is made in life. But then one friend comes, I have one herbal vati or something. What do you call it? Jadi Buti. Right? Jadi Buti. You take this Jadi Buti, you'll be okay. Comes in the form of third force. I want to buy a new car. Active force. Right? Now, what all passive forces will the mind make? Do I want to incur new debt? What is wrong with the old car? And many months may go in indecision. Struggle between active and passive. What is there? Absence of third force. Absence of third force. Right? And then one day the old car has a big breakdown. Right? So, we get to make the third. So these are some examples. In life, it is every moment is nothing else but a meeting of two forces, right? Okay. Now, like I said, there is second force in life, there is second force within us. Are they related to each other? Are they related to each other? Are they related to each other? If I am continuously desiring all the time, am I creating second force? What is the relationship in that?
We act according to our inner desire.
No, supposing you what do you call? Want to buy something, right? And then you are deciding for a few days. Then on the day you go to buy that thing, the prices of it go up. The prices of it go up. Is there a connection? Because that is something which is happening outside. See, passive force will take many forms outside. I may not be getting a job. I may not be ready for the interview. I may not be ready for the exam. Right? At the time of the exam, I may fall ill. Can you understand? So in life, passive force is of many kinds, many kinds. And many people, they always complain that in their life, there is nothing but passive force. There is nothing in their life but passive force. Life is never what you call happy with them. Life always creates problems with them. Does that one practice? This is in the first hour in the morning after getting up. I'll be very conscious, not a single negative thought. Right? This is very difficult. Very difficult. Right? So supposing I complain that the alarm did not ring on time, then I've already had a negative thought. Or if I complain there is no milk for the tea, then I've already had a negative thought. Or if I say, I complain that my pant is not ironed, then I already have a negative thought. Or if I complain the newspaper did not come on time, then I already have a negative thought. Can you understand what I'm trying? Or I find fault with her that she had promised to leave this in the morning, but she has not turned up on time or something like that. Then I've already had a negative thought. So he's telling me that 1 hour after I get up, I be very aware not to allow a single negative thought to enter the mind. Even if it comes, I stand a little away. I don't act upon that negative thought. We talked about this yesterday. We don't act upon the negative thought. And he says, then I see the next few days what kind of events come to meet me in life. And then some days negative thoughts come in my mind. And then I study what kind of events are coming to meet me. Now, just by remaining calm for 1 hour in the morning, just looking inside, not shaking hands with any negative thought, not saying I to any negative thought, not signing the check of any negative thought, right? Does it have a relationship that in the evening my train will come on time, I'll go to office, my boss will be in a good mood or in a bad mood? Does it have a relationship with that? And he's telling me, through years of observation, I have said it has a connection. The events, the quality of the events outside depend on what is my inner state. Now, this is a big statement. So what does the inner state have to do with the outer events? So if we are collecting a lot of second force in our life, are we going to create more obstacles in our life? Can you understand what I'm trying to say? So the first continuous creation of negative force, what did I tell you? We always expect life to be better. We always expect life. And this is, you know, a crocodile. The crocodile, it lies in the water, but small part of it lies out of the water. Similarly, so many desires, they lie in the water, but a small part only is outside, we can't see it. Right? And those desires are there automatically. And awareness, consciousness means to become conscious of that and to drop it. So supposing I'm going to sit in my car, is there an expectation inside that the journey to the office will go smoothly? I cannot see it, but it is still there. You understand what I'm trying to say? It is still there. And awareness means, consciousness means to bring that which is unseen into the seen. Right? So I'm going to sit in my car, right? But definitely there is a desire inside that the journey will go smoothly. The journey will go smoothly. You understand what I'm trying to say? Even when I press the button for the lift, there is a desire inside, it will come fast. Now all this is happening all the time, not in our threshold of awareness. And it is a continuous form of desiring. And a continuous form of desiring always creates passive force. Then that passive force comes to meet us in life in the form of obstacles, in the form of sickness, in the form of whatever way it wants to come. It will take different forms, but we have already invited the passive force. And that is why it's very important to become a little conscious about what is happening in the subconscious mind. My son is going out, so there is a desire inside that he should be safe. Can
So
you?
you mean to say that we shouldn't desire?
No, we should take our awareness a little higher so that we know that these desires are there, right? Because the more we keep on desiring, every action has a
Reaction.
equal and opposite reaction. So every active force creates its own passive force. And we will say after 20 years that all that desiring happened and that passive force came to meet me. I got cancer. Where did the cancer come from? But I was desiring it all the time. Can you see this? And this, to go into the root of desire, unless we are able to bring our consciousness to this, that we are desiring all the time. All the time. Right? Now, we call the third force the neutralizing force. Because it does two things. It neutralizes one of the two forces. If it neutralizes the active force, then the obstacles overcome my desire. If it neutralizes the passive force, my desire overcomes the obstacles. This word neuter means neither this or neither that. It is something totally different. But let us take the Sanskrit word, sattva. It means something which brings truth, something which brings essence, right? Tomorrow we'll go into the law of the pendulum. How are we going to see two forces at the same time? We are always stuck with one force, right? Supposing we go to a temple, right? And we are desiring something from the temple. It's not apparent. Everybody says, no, I just go to pray. There is no desire inside. I am performing without any expectation. But deep inside there is a desire. The very fact that he has gone to the temple is a desire. So what are we asking for? What are we asking for? If we are asking for happiness, he is giving us the opposite. Because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Can you understand what I am trying to say? Okay. Now just try to see the different forms of creating passive force in our life.
In the example that you gave last, you go to temple to seek something, then what you get is opposite. How does it match with you go to temple, whatever you are looking for, you exactly get that.
But still you get the opposite.
Like you carry what you always wanted back home.
Supposing I go to the temple to get money and I ask the what do you call the statue that you give me? Money. And supposing I even get a lot of money in my life, the passive force will come in some other form.
But then how, when we do prayers or whatever, we always say whatever, like, always say good things, that, okay, this is what.
So I'm going to take one lecture on the right way of praying.
Yeah, because then if it's opposite, then why we pray?
Exactly. So tomorrow I'm going to take one talk on how to
Pray.
pray.
That's very
How to
important,
pray.
because we've been doing it always, our moms used to say, do this, do that, and
So we're going to take how to pray. Right?
If we go to temple for getting happiness, when we go back home, we do get happiness.
oh, we do get happiness inside, but I
But
don't
you already create a passive force, it will come to meet you in some other form. You go to the temple to reach a state where you are above asking. You want that, what do you call, the murti over there to show you some knowledge to where you can reach a state where you don't ask any more. What is the way to that state? That is why we go to the temple. Can you understand what I mean? Because whatever, even if I get a lot of money, that is going to come with passive force in a different form, different forms. Okay. Just make one study of people who have won lotteries. How many of them have been able to keep it? Have you seen the study? In 3 years, 9 out of 10 have
no money.
been in debt.
Yeah.
Have been in debt. So did the lottery solve all the problems, or did the lottery bring more problems? Can you understand? Is there a technique to be free of asking? Can I reach a state where I'm free of wanting this and not wanting this?
So that theory is not good. People say that. All
Yeah.
are good.
Do it for half an hour. Start observing your life. Start observing your life. Yeah.
At the same time, it will have some effect at the mental level, that there is a friction, there will be struggle. You don't want to go for any negative effect or negative desire. And something, that has happened, it comes. You don't
I
want
don't
it.
understand what you're saying. I don't understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something has happened the previous night. In the morning, you don't want to think about it because it is negative. However, it comes up. You don't want it and still it comes up, so there will be a struggle in your mind.
Right. So struggle is, what is struggle?
Passive.
You're struggling against the passive
And
force. That is called tap.
Okay.
You're struggling against I want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but when at 5 o'clock the alarm rings, I don't want to get up. But at night I wanted to get up. Something happened at night, I decided to get up but at 5 o'clock in the morning, there is a struggle now. Can you understand? This struggle is what is called tap. Right? There must be a struggle. There must be a struggle.
can I ask you one?
Yeah.
When I was a little girl, since my mom always said,
Hmm.
बोलने के पहले सोचो और फिर बोलो. So आज तक मुझे समझ नहीं आई what's the meaning of that. She is no more from many years, but that stuck in my head. So before I say something, I said, would I look right, or would I feel bad, or she feel bad? So before saying thing, I think. So what is that?
Let's pause. Yesterday we talked about it.
I wasn't there.
You were there. So yesterday we said that there is a thought, and out of the thought, something called action comes out. Right? I see you, I recognize you, I immediately say good morning. अभी वो सोच के किया था कि ऑटोमेटिक हो गया.
वो तो automatic हो गया.
Right. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that is mechanical. But I see you and I pause. I bring consciousness. Right? And I say, just by saying good morning, it may be mechanical, I can say it in a different way. You're looking very bright this morning. You understand? Now, I have brought in consciousness. So, when I bring in consciousness, I don't become a slave of the thought. If I had automatically said good morning, I became a slave of the thought. I was hypnotized by the thought. We live in a state of hypnosis. Every thought hypnotizes us. We don't bring in consciousness before expressing the thought. Can you understand? Now many thoughts, they are only feeding negative hungers inside. Can you understand? Supposing three of us are talking about her, and we are talking everything negative about her, right? And I also know something negative about her. So now I feel a hunger inside. I want to say it. Can you see this? I want to. I'm waiting for my turn to say it to you. Can you get it? Yeah. Right? And that is an inner hunger, a negative. The minute I do that, I'm feeding a pattern. So there I have to bring in consciousness. And there I fast. I say I won't feed it. I won't give it food.
Yeah, that's also that when you think a lot of things you don't want to say.
But our thinking is so automatic that there is no space for consciousness. So first is to bring in consciousness between the thought and the action. Now the action may not be apparent. The action may happen inside. Right? So, supposing she's wearing a green dress, and I may have a pattern inside, I don't like green, for so many reasons. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? So, now I cannot stop the thought that she is wearing a green dress. Can I stop that thought? No, that is there. But I can stop thinking on the thought, that from one thought, the second, the third, that I can stop. That is bringing in consciousness. She wants to wear green, she's her. But I don't want to take it further. Right? Green color represents this, and green is this. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? Then I've started thinking the thought. So there are two things. The thought comes is no problem. If I shake the hand of the thought, then there's a problem. If I invite the thought to be a guest in my home, there's a problem. Can you understand? And it happens automatically. That is where we have to become conscious. Yeah.
How do we distinguish between thought coming and then thinking about the thought?
Right. So many thoughts come. So many thoughts come. Can you understand? Right? But we immediately start thinking. Why we think is because we have a whole network of associations inside. And that is a deep study, the study of associations. Everything is linked in a wrong way within us. Can you get what I'm trying to say?
So does it reflect as much rag and dvesh I have? The thought that I get to get food, to have more association.
The associations will happen very fast.
Yeah, because I am full of rag and dvesh myself. A thought comes and I have so much of library of
What is rag? Rag is
liking.
attraction,
Yeah.
dvesh is
Opposite.
repulsion. Rag and dvesh are just the seeds. They are just the seeds. So, the associations is a whole network. They may be based on liking and disliking.
Can I say rag and dvesh is like a flammable, it's a gas. it's fuel. So when thought comes, there goes a fuel connecting to the thought, and boom, there is a series of more thoughts arising out of a thought. Because I have a stack full of rag for a thought. As thought come in, I'm ready to say I like this, I like this, I like this, and which gives series of thoughts without my being even aware of.
Like and dislike. Now, like and dislike is happening every moment. Every moment. I am labeling the moment like or dislike. So there is a continuous process of rag and dvesh. There is a continuous process of rag and dvesh. Those create a whole network of associations. But we don't have to study rag and dvesh. We have to study the associations. The associations. Right? Say, I am walking in the garden. Right? Now a phone call comes. This has happened. Walking is which center? Moving center. Phone call has come in which center? Thinking or feeling center. But there is an association which is making a wrong connection with my walking. Can you understand? So after the phone call comes, I was walking leisurely, now I'm walking with tension and fast. Right? Now because I'm walking with tension and fast, different thoughts will also start coming. It is these inner connections which I have to study. Right? And this is a long study because this is so many inner connections are there. Now, I just get one thought of anger, but immediately this becomes tight. Right? This is moving, muscles. This is thinking. Now, why should it connect? Right? So, these connections have to be studied. That's why I try not to use what you call
Standard terminology.
Standard terminology, because people have all sorts of connotations about it. Right? And it becomes very difficult. Because then they generalize everything. See, rag is a klesh, dvesh is a klesh. Right? So Patanjali says the vritti can be with klesh or it can be without klesh. Klishta, aklishta. I meet you. But after meeting you, I have a feeling that something is left out. Can you understand? Either I had to tell you something or I had to get something. Something of that sort is left out. And this becomes the seed of future repetition. This is rag dvesh. Right? After eating the ice cream, the desire for more ice cream is still there, even my stomach is full. I remember once when my son was in college, I phoned him, he said, we are in a restaurant to eat. So it's a buffet. So all the friends had gone. So then I phoned him again, you enjoyed your buffet? He says, no, we have asked the waiter whether we can go out, take a walk and come back and eat again. Okay. So, but rag and dvesh are again passive force. Passive force. Right? They are the seeds of karma. The seeds of karma. But they are not the expressions of the ego. Where there is the ego, there will be rag and dvesh. But the expressions come in 6 other forms. Which are the forms? The expression comes in lobha,
Krodha, Man, Maya,
Lobha,
Raga.
Kama, Krodha, Moha, Matsa, and in all the 5 centers, Mad. Mad comes in many forms. So we call laziness also as Mad, Pramad. Mad going forward, Pramad. We call laziness also as Mad. Right? To be conscious in second force and then to be conscious in third force. Now most of the time when we say what do you want in life, we are just dreaming. It's just a fantasy. Huh? Now, is resentment a very big passive force? Resentment. Anger, jealousy, irritation, complaining, fault finding, right? These are all parts of passive force, right? Now we'll just study the third force and then we'll see. Tomorrow we'll take the law of opposites. Now try to study the 3 forces in life outside. And try to see the change in the, what do you call? Supposing we say color. So blue will be active, red will be passive, yellow will be neutralizing. So we said red is passive. Red is passive. That is, between these 3 colors, the whole world of color is born. By active, passive, neutralizing. Right? But supposing we take heat, then what happens? Red becomes active. Black becomes passive. Can you see? So in one octave, red is passive. In another octave, red becomes active. And we are going to go into this, what is the law of octaves. If we get time, we'll go into that. So something which is conducting active force again starts conducting passive force, and it keeps changing. Now we'll take money. Take money. Man makes goods. He makes all the goods in the world. So man is active, goods are passive. Man is active, goods are passive. But just by this, there is no real exchange. They need a third factor. The third factor is money. It allows for goods and desires to be exchanged. It allows for goods and desires to be exchanged. And we can see that this factor called money, it can act in active and passive in so many combinations. So many combinations. Can you see? Money is neutralizing force, right? But supposing some money is falling out of your bag and I start looking at it like this, then for me it is conducting which force? Active force. Can you understand? So in greed, money is conducting active force, even though in itself money is a neutralizing force. You understand what I am trying to say? So this is a combination, men, goods and money, and it gives rise to the whole economics, all the commerce, everything that we see. Now what can we say about money in the last 40, 50 years? What can we say about money? What has happened to money in the last 40, 50 years? Huh?
Greedy.
No, it is becoming more and more invisible. Can you understand? It is becoming more and more invisible. Right? A time will come where money will be nearly invisible. Still there will be money. Still there will be money. So this teaches us something, that the third force is invisible. It is in some other dimension. It is in some other time. A time will come when we'll only see men and goods. We'll never see money. Right? But still there will be a transaction of money. So the third force is working from an invisible plane. Even though paper is visible, the notes, the power of money is invisible. And it is not that men want money, they are after money for the power which is hidden in money. Now, when we make an effort to rise to a higher state of consciousness, all that comes in our way, whether it is our laziness, and laziness is of three kinds: intellectual, emotional, physical. Right? Supposing I am teaching the exercises, there are many people who come with a great deal of questions. They won't try the exercises for 3 months, but they'll keep on questioning. That how can you breathe in rhythm? Science says you cannot breathe in rhythm. This cannot happen this way. This is a form of intellectual laziness. They don't want to try it, but they want to keep on asking questions. Right? Emotional laziness. We have a likes and dislikes. And physical laziness, I don't have the energy to do it. Then all our attitudes, tendencies, all this pulls us down. Right? Now what is the third force in sadhana? In our effort to awaken, what is the third force? What is the third force? We come to this line over here. What is the third force?
Or belief system.
The teaching. The teaching. Right? So, she insults me. Right? So, what does life say? That I better put her in a place. This is the normal teaching of life. Right? Before a person can slap you on the other cheek, you better slap him on the first cheek. Right? But what does the teaching say? The teaching says. Right? The teaching says that anger is not something which is outside, it is lying within you. Do you want to be free of that anger or not? Right? Then her hitting you is just an excuse for that anger coming from the subconscious to the conscious. Now be free of it. Look at it and be free of it. So the teaching moves in another direction from life. Right? So moment to moment when we listen to the teaching, we rise in life, in consciousness. But if we don't listen to the teaching, then we listen to the normal rules of life. That if she says something to me, I have to get angry upon her. So it is Yoga Sutra. Patanjali starts with Atha Yoga Anushasana. He says from this day, before we enter into the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali is taking a promise from us that from this day we will live our life according to the Anushasana. Anushasana means discipline of yoga. From this day, I make a promise that I will live my life. Then only he is taking you further in the Yoga Sutra. First thing he makes you take a promise. The first sutra is Atha Yoga Anushasana. Right? So, if I get angry on her, is it the discipline of yoga? No, it is not. But I have now made a promise that I will live my life according to the discipline of yoga. If somebody takes away my money, Right? If somebody takes away my money, in life I have to make an effort to get my money back. But still in my understanding, I know there is nothing like my money and your money. Right? Money comes from something higher. It comes from actually money does not like it only. When we say my money is something living at a very high dimension. Right? So when we say my money, she feels you have raped her. Because she has come from somewhere, from some central bank. We are allowed to use her, exchange goods, allowed to enjoy life, but we don't own money. Real stealing is not I take money from your bag. Real stealing is saying this money belongs to me. That is real stealing. Right? Okay. So money is the third force, sattva. It cannot belong to anyone. It cannot belong to anyone. Right? Now if we see in other aspects of life, say chemistry, sometimes the alkali and the salt, they cancel each other now, unless there is something called a catalyst. Catalyst. Right? The catalyst, after the end of the equation, it remains unchanged. It remains unchanged. What does this tell us about it? That the third force always remains unchanged. Money can never be less, money can never be more, it is always there. Similarly, in our lives, when love becomes a third force, right, in every equation it will always remain unchanged. Right? I'm trying to sit in meditation, but there's a lot of noise of the traffic. Trying to sit in meditation, right, is active force. Noise of the traffic is passive force. But if I bring in love, then that very expression of love changes the noise of the traffic into something very, what do you call, acceptable to be, and I'm able to meditate. Right? Whenever I look at passive force through the eyes of love, it transforms. Not the love we have, husband, wife, not that love. Because husband loves his wife one moment, after 5 minutes he hates the same wife. Right? Not that love. Love which has no opposite. Love which has no opposite. Right? So when that love becomes a transforming force in our life, it is like a lamp. I cannot say I love her and I don't love her, because the lamp throws light. Whoever comes in front, the light falls. It cannot be choosy. Right? Otherwise I'll say I love this person and I don't love.
Yes.
What happened when you fell in love?
Looks good.
Everything looks good? Now what you needed was a little bit of
Affection.
teaching. What did you need? A little bit of teaching. What if you had a little bit of teaching? What would the teaching say? What would the teaching say? The teaching will say that you are in this illusion that you have fallen in love with somebody, but the energy called love was already lying within you. That person is just an excuse for something which is beautiful in you to come out. Right? The teaching would have told you that or not?
Yes.
Right? But the teaching was not there. So you said, let me possess this person. If I possess this person, all 24 hours there will be love and nothing else. Right? So we went and married that person. Right? Then what happened to the love? Love became hate, and hate becomes love, and love becomes hate, and hate becomes love. Right? But if there was a teaching, then that teaching would have told you that love is something which is lying deep within you. This person is just an excuse for that to come out. But it is still a very, very, what do you call, vulnerable, what do you call it, bud.
Then you will not marry him.
Yeah, then there will be no passive force in that. Right? But if you learn to give water to that, what has just come out, that small flower which is just opening, and if you learn to protect it, then that energy starts spreading. That energy starts spreading. You know, like perfumes, spreads. Love spreads. You open a bottle of perfume in this room, the perfume is in every place at the same time. Love is in every place at the same time. Our brains are digital, but love is not digital. So, but you have to look after that. Otherwise, you go through marriage, right? First there is the contradictory, then there is the complementary, and then you rise to a different stage of love through transformation. That is different. All marriage is to first make things fight, huh? And then you rise to something much higher, right? But that is a different kind of love. But everybody gets a chance once free of charge.
Yeah.
At least once. At least once. You should forget the other person and look after what has flowered within. Then it spreads. Then it spreads. And then it is magical. Whatever you touch with love transforms. Whatever you look at with love transforms. It comes into your words, it comes into your touch, it comes in your perception. Then nothing in life can ever be wrong again. Then there is no passive force in life. You are free of the passive force.
Then you are already risen in your consciousness.
Love and consciousness go. Well, there is conscious love. You made a conscious effort to look after that love. You made a conscious effort to nurse that love like a mother nurses the child. Satkara sevitu dhrad bhumi, Patanjali says. Yogni je sthiti ek vakat thai gayi, that small glimpse of the state of yoga, you look after that state, satkar asevitu. In which way do you look after? Like a mother is nursing the child, you nurse that inner state of yoga. Don't let it go away. Gurdjieff calls this as self-remembering. He calls it we call it as Atma Smaran. That one small glimpse you have got inside, don't throw it away. Look after it. Rise it, let it spread. Satkara sevi. Beautiful. Right? But he says, Satu Dirga Kale. It has to be done over a long period of time. We get bored very easily. When will it happen? When will it happen? And there is nothing to happen. Because we ask when will it happen, it will never happen. Right? Over a long period of time. Don't have anything to ask today. Tomorrow we'll take the law of the pendulum, law of opposites. If we learn to see opposites, then we are seeing the active and passive force together at the same time. I fall in love with somebody, active force, but at the same time I know that today she loves me, but tomorrow she may hate me also. This love and hate are both the same thing in her. Then tomorrow if the hate comes out, will I be in pain or will I feel any suffering? I know from the beginning, it has to be like this.
So starting off that thing is like when you see other person and accept them the way they are, not see anything bad in them.
Rather let us see
Okay.
that my love is outside, but that does not mean hate is not lying within me. Just because she is there, there is love. But if somebody else comes, then the love will go inside and the hate will come outside. Can you understand? So I am living love and hate. And if I am observing myself, I say, if this is within me, what can I expect in the other? If I say the other has to be loving all the time, then I am saying I must be loving all the time. But if I can change from love to hate and hate to love, then I'll say for the other it is very easy. Can you understand? It is very easy. Then it does not pain me. I know that this is the law of life till you are free of this. Then nothing pains us. That today she is very nice, but tomorrow she may be Ma Kali or something, right? Durga, yeah? But then nothing pains us. We know this is the law of life. That Durga was hidden there. Hidden. So Durga is a beautiful.
You just see what it is and then evaluate that?
No, you go deeper into the science of life in yourself. You're not looking at somebody else. Can you see? You're looking at what is within you. You don't marry somebody else. We live under this illusion that we marry another person. All of us are male and female. If I am male outside, the female is hidden inside. The girl